Hi, Armored Pants here, and I have another video for you in the French line, the light tanks, the Tier 7 AMX 1375. And as always, we'll have a look at the tech spec using blitzhanger.com, which is a great asset for all blitzers, and I hope you're using it on your own and in your own good time, because it is very valuable. Now, this is a great light tank, and therefore it's typical of light tank gameplay. If you use the can pate, by the way, you can get the view range up a bit if you want to. Otherwise, you can use the enhanced fuel. As always, we will use supercharged and refined gun on this. 75mm gun has weak pen though, front on tanks, and you're going to see that in the game that we're going to have a look at. I can't actually pen a heavy tank front on, even with APCR, so you need to be aware of that, and that also then plays into the tactics that should be adopted on this tank. It has good burst damage though on the full magazine, but then it has quite a long reload on the full magazine, so you need to be cognizant of that as well. It is lightning fast, like it's the tanks before. It handles really well, gets around the map really well, and therefore is really an agile tank that will enable you to get around that map, to spot, to scout, etc. It's extremely important to this tank, especially in the initial stages of it, because you're a tier 7 now and you've absolutely no armor. You're playing against tier 7s and tier 8s like a Borsig, you can be one-shotted. So you need to check the setup very carefully, because you can see here you just have no armor whatsoever. So before the game starts, you need to check the setup. You need to run 2 repair kits, because you do not want to get caught out in the open in this thing, and your tracks, as you can see, are quite exposed. So, and you don't need the engine accelerator. Tank is fast enough as it is. But you need to check the setup. You need to check what big guns are on the other team, and you need to help yourself go scout, go spot, find out where they are, because until you know where they are, then you cannot really move around the map with safety. Particularly if you're up tiered in this and there's a Borsig or something on the other team, he can one-shot you. Your game will end very quickly and very painfully. So therefore, spot, scout, and ambush. This is not a front-on tank. This is a tank where you need to fire from behind and to the sides of the enemy tanks. Going front-on, and you will see this in the game, is not recommended, and sometimes not even possible in this tank. So you need to get around the map, use your speed, get out there, spot out the enemy, spot up the big guns in particular, make sure that you know where they are so you're not going to get one-shotted and have a very short game. Then come in around behind and to the side of tanks, use the speed and agility, circle of death, or whatever you need to do. But get in, get around the enemy. This is an this is an up close and personal tank. As we described when we looked at the SP1C review, this is a knife at a gunfight. Now, I'm going to go to A on this map. I'm going to try to cap and spot. I'm just looking at the setup here. So I see there are some big guns. There's also some fast movers on the other team. So I want to try to spot them up. So I'm going to go to A. Tell my team I'm going to go to A. And then we're going to zip off as fast as we can using the speed and agility of this tank to try to find the enemy, particularly the fast movers and the big guns. Now, I've got 2 repair kits that I'm running here, plus the engine accelerator, which of course you can use because it has an autoloader, so you don't need adrenaline. And this is something I often do in this map. Rather than go to A, I go past A to spot up the enemy, and if they're in any way slow in getting off the mark, then I will spot them up, and exactly as I did there, and then they are lighted up for my allies. Unfortunately, my allies are not really helping here. I don't know what they're doing. They're just sitting at the back there. There's nobody really near me. You saw there when I came over the hill the speed of the tank, even though it's a very light tank. Unfortunately, you can often damage the tracks. You saw that we did that in the 12T review that I did too. I don't want to go up against that T43 because he's being covered by the tank destroyer up at the rails. So I'm going to try to drag him out. I think the tank destroyer is there, so I'm going to try to empty a clip into him while I have the safety of the plane around me. And now I'm going to come down while I'm reloading, try to get into position in behind the T-43. As I said, this is where this tank comes into its fore. Ambush tactics, coming up behind. There we go, just cleared him off. So that T-43 was in full health just a few minutes ago, or just a few seconds ago, and then with me hitting him, the other T-43 hitting him, he's just cleared off. We did a good job there, and that is really what you want to do with this tank. You want to be hitting other tanks from behind and the sides. This is not a front-on tank. I know I've said that several times now, but I can't emphasize enough how much that is true. Now the spec here, he was active earlier, but then he's got disconnected. You see here now just how fast this tank is, how agile, and you can see pretty cool power slide. Can't do that in all tanks. It's one of the reasons I love driving the RU251 when I started playing. Just power sliding like that, sort of like combining the need for speed and Grand Theft Auto with a tank game. Pretty cool, huh? You see the agility of this tank. The poor owl Stuart Emil has no chance once I get in close to him. And as I said, it's an up close and personal vehicle. It's an up close and personal weapon. You see the spec here, he's got disconnected, so I'm just going to come around, put some rounds into the back of him, which is really where you want to be doing your damage. Put some HE rounds into the back of him. I can reload. Thankfully he's disconnected, but I want to clear off this spec because he is one of the most dangerous tanks on the map for me, because he can chase me. The big heavy tanks, I'm not so much afraid of if I can get in and around behind them. Now we're a 3v4 situation, and I got to try to help my allies, but unfortunately we're now down to 2v4. Plus the T-43, I don't really know what he's doing. He doesn't really try to do anything. He's just kind of sitting there. I'm going to try to empty my clip in. I'm just guessing where he is. He's probably moved on here. But I really don't want to get exposed. I don't want to go up too close, especially not to that SU-100Y. That was going to be a bad idea. Now, up until this point in this game, I've played pretty well, right? I've done what I should do. I've spotted. I've, circle of death. I've capped. Come up to cap C. Now I kind of and this, I've mentioned this before in other games. I change how I play now because I think there's a mastery badge coming up. I'm in a Klobanoff plus situation in a second because the T-43 I think he just sat out in the middle of the desert and just got smashed. Now I'm trying to clear this Tiger. I know this Tiger has played very well. I've seen him clear a few tanks when I've been looking at what's going on in the game summary flashing up, and I'm trying to clear him. And in trying to clear him, I actually take some hits, and then I kind of get obsessed with it, and I actually see I drove into something there just looking at the minimap, and I just change how I would normally play. Normally what I would have done in this situation, I wouldn't even try to take that hit on that Tiger. I actually just would have driven off into the desert and tried to ambush the SU-100Y, for example, and leave the Tiger there because the Tiger T is slow. But instead, I actually engage him. I engage him front on. So this is what I said to you earlier on about not being able to pen in this tank, because you can't pen many heavy tanks front on, and that wasn't even a tier 8. I mean, that was just tier 7, although the Tiger P is quite heavily armoured. But you see, I just changed my tactics completely. I mean, I didn't get much help from my teammates, as you can see, but even so, I should have played that differently. I made a big mistake there. I should have just used a speeder tank, gone out into the desert, tried to ambush one or two of the others, played for time, played the cap, maybe tried to get one or two more kills. Instead, I don't know what I did. I just got a complete brain fart and just tried to take out that Tiger and got obsessed with it. So I think it goes to show you that even when you're quite an experienced player, you can really just make a mess out of a game at the end. I was lucky to get the mastery badge, of course, in the end, but nonetheless could have done a lot better. Anyway, to recap, this is a great light tank. If you haven't watched the light tank guide already, which is on channel, please do so. It will help you a lot. It's super fast. It's beautifully agile, as you saw. You saw out in the desert there. It's in its element there. Up, down, around, getting in behind the enemy. Perfect for spotting. Scouting badges will come. And as I said, It's also in your interest to scout because you need to spot up those big guns early on in the game when you're most vulnerable. Ambush tactics work best, never front on. Do as I say, not as I do, because I made a mess of it in that game. The autoloader is very effective, but the pen is low front on, as you saw. Circle of Death, though, it is a master, but make sure you're fully loaded before you get into it. Count your shells. You don't want to be going into a Circle of Death situation or a brawl when you've got one shell in the clip, because that's going to end badly for you. Make sure you count your shells. Keep moving. Stopping is dropping. Again, do as I say, not as I do, because that's not what I did there, and you saw how that ended up not good. And I guess that's all the key messages on this tank. So I guess all that's left for me to say is cheers, Mush. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful, and pants off.